to moneypuzzle.in. We are here yet again with conversations around your money and how to use it more efficiently. Joining us today for a very interesting chat is a CEO and founder of an AI-based platform who is going to help you do just that. Asheesh Chanda, CEO and founder of Kristal.AI. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Lisa. Glad to be here.
So Asheesh, you've been in the news in the Indian papers for raising, I think, was it $6 million? Yeah, for your platform. And now you're also starting out. You're doing this for about 4 years now, right?
Yeah.
But it's not come to India yet. It's coming now. Or it's
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about Kristal.AI. It sounds very intriguing, but yeah.
So we call it our homecoming now. So we're coming back home.
Okay.
And after testing ourselves in Singapore and Hong Kong, which are much more developed markets,
right.
And then this whole purpose of Series A was to get enough corpus so that we can build the India business.
Right.
So while we have been in India as a firm, like we have the development centers, we're based out of Bangalore and so on, but now as servicing Indian residents, giving our products and services to them, now is when that clear focus has come in, and we think it's the right time now for us. Right?
And so far you've been operating in which markets? I know you've been in Singapore, but other markets as well?
So we are there in Singapore and Hong Kong. India is now the main focus. We have a rep office in Dubai also.
Okay, excellent. And what is this service about? I mean, is it a robo-advisor as this word is understood by people?
So let me explain what is the concept. Why was Kristal.AI born? So in the financial world or in the wealth management world, typically what you see is that the wealthier you are, the more service you get, the more access you get.
Right.
You're able to pay for wealth managers. They also give you more time, love, advice, whatever it is called, right?
Yeah.
But if your net worth is not huge, then you typically get ignored.
Okay.
And unfortunately, the business models which need a lot of human touch do tend to be more expensive. And so a large segment of the population who have needs to get an advice or needs to build a portfolio, they don't have any means to get access to it.
Yeah.
So how do you solve that problem? So that is the key problem which resulted in Kristal.AI being born.
Okay.
And why AI? So think of it this way, people who do not have access to human advice need something which is as good as that and maybe someday better. And that's called artificial intelligence. So that's exactly the concept, that there is a right to transparent financial advice that everyone should have. But because of cost structures of companies, it's not being delivered. So Kristal.AI is here to deliver that right to financial advice in a transparent and seamless manner.
So let me ask you one thing, and we'll get into the details of how the platform functions and what all it is that you're actually offering to the investor. The Indian audience is very used to the fixed return, defined period kind of an investment. So then to move from that to the next, it's like, okay, is it giving me more return? But it becomes, maybe not as relevant an investment then, because returns come because of risk. And while we can understand that, somebody who's just starting out with their investments, it's very difficult for them to kind of gauge that. So how does your platform structure to address this issue, that people don't just go in and chase return, but also try and pick things which are more relevant to their own financial life?
Correct. So if you see, one of the drawbacks that I see in the industry in India, which we are trying to address, is that it's very transactional. So people are just forced to choose and do things by themselves, and they may not have that full education level knowledge, or they may only be focusing on 1 year returns or 3 year returns, and not what's the risk and what are they getting inside it. Whereas if you see both in the US or Singapore, Hong Kong, or in slightly more developed markets, there is a lot more personalization being delivered today.
Right, and that's happening through like online AI kind of strategies, the personalization?
So personalization at a very high net worth level is through people.
Right.
But at a larger scale is through algorithms.
Okay, so you're offering this ability to invest in overseas stocks
Correct.
through your platform?
Yeah, so we stick to ETFs if you are a starting investor, which is like a mutual fund.
But then does that, sorry to cut you, but I'm
Sure.
just kind of, trying to do
That's
this thing.
correct,
So through ETFs, meaning you will recommend ETFs to people based on their preference, or how does it work?
So there are two key values that we have. So the first is curated access,
Right.
and the second is personalized advice.
Right.
So curated access is for someone who has some idea of what they want. They
Right.
want to try us out or try this global investment out with smaller amounts.
Yeah.
So in fact, on that note, up to $5,000, which is 3.5 lakh rupees.
Is that an annual thing? Like I can invest up to 3.5 lakh a year?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
So we don't charge anything,
Right.
to that amount. After that, we have some fee structures. So basically, at least it's an incentive for you to get started.
Right.
Saying that we are happy to absorb the cost,
Of course.
but don't ignore this thing. At least come and see what's there in the world and get started.
Yeah.
So that's curated access. So we'll not come and say you buy one stock, because stocks can be volatile.
Yeah.
You always have to build a portfolio similar to how you build your mutual funds.
Right.
The equivalent of mutual funds in the global world is ETFs, which is an exchange traded fund,
Right.
which by the way manage 10 times more than mutual funds. It's 15
in the global context.
In the global context.
The Indian context, it's really the other way.
Yeah, in Indian context, ETFs are very nascent. They are
Yes.
being born, I would say. That there are recent ones, the Bharat Bond, the CPSE, and Bharat
Yeah.
22's come up. I think that market will grow, but it will take its own sweet time.
Right. But what if I want to, buy the Nasdaq ETF? Can I not just go and do it myself?
No, sure. So if you know what you want, you can do it, and that's what I'm saying. So coming back to our two values, right? Curated access.
Right.
So we have the Nasdaq ETF available. If you know which one you want, you have it available on the Kristal platform.
Right.
You send money, get started, buy that. Perfect.
Okay.
No problem at all.
Okay.
If you don't know what you want, so
Yeah.
then you're moving away from curated access and you want some more advice.
Okay.
That's when the AI-based algorithm comes in, but you have to complete your risk profile for that.
Okay.
So we need to know what exactly you like, what your objectives are, what your risk profile is.
Right.
Because without having that, giving advice is stupid.
Yeah. So is that your differentiator then? Like I was saying, there are a lot of robo-advisory platforms which are already operational, and some sporadic access to overseas instruments through brokerages, etc.
Yeah.
How will you? You're starting out
Yeah.
now in this market.
Yeah.
How are you planning to position?
So there are two different ways how you can look at it. So one is that once there is a curation which you can use, so that's one way that okay, someone is doing this thing.
Right.
But then an extended version of that is the personalized advice, which is through the algo. So a lot of platforms today, they do curation based on the historical returns of the fund or the asset and so on, but not on your profile.
Okay.
So there's nothing which takes it to the next level where it's customized for you or built for you or personalized for you. So that's one key difference, that we are making it personalized for you. So someone who comes and buys a Nasdaq ETF, he needs to be told or she needs to be told that you may want to go into fixed income or bonds or gold and build a diversified portfolio. So that's the second element that comes in. So we don't leave you at, it's not a hit and run platform that we have.
Okay.
You come and buy something, great, but our algorithms are built to look at that portfolio and engage with you that, hey, you need to diversify because things are looking in a particular manner, whether it's becoming more risk, less risk, and so on. So please diversify and add this one.
Okay. So it's a good thing that you're bringing this global access for investors. Now, what are your plans for the Indian products, like in the domestic market? There are obviously more active funds than ETFs,
Sure.
but that is also changing. So is that something that you have to offer as well?
Yeah, so we have a roadmap plan for Indian mutual funds and Indian ETFs. So our objective is to deliver overall portfolio where you could have mutual funds in India, ETFs in India, and ETFs globally, so that you have a holistic view of how your portfolio is doing both in India and globally. But we're starting in phases. So our global product is ready. It has been working for a couple of years, and the same algorithms we have been testing, fine-tuning in the last couple of months. And of course, we needed some
Do you have to
regulatory
change it
approvals.
for the Indian
Yes,
investor?
you have to tweak it. So the concept remains the same.
Right.
So let's say the technology remains the same.
Right.
But there are certain fine tunings you need to do to localize it or to make sure that it is for the right diaspora. And comes across in the right way.
Right. So I went onto your platform and I saw these crystals.
Yeah.
So what are these crystals about? They are the portfolios, or how would you describe it?
So each crystal is a portfolio. It could be a single ETF or a basket of ETFs, or in some cases a basket of stocks.
Right.
So the whole idea, the word crystal is for
like
transparency, like a view into the future.
Right.
So
like a crystal ball.
Like
right.
a crystal ball.
Right.
Yeah,
I just got that. Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe because you spell it differently.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah. No, K is a strong word, so we like using K.
Yeah. Okay, so Asheesh, we've spoken a lot about the service and the kind of products that you're looking at, and of course the strategy itself. Just very briefly, can you give us any insight on what really happens when you go into building an AI-based strategy? Like, how is it different from, say, any other digital platform where I can go and buy a mutual fund?
So, tell you the difference, what I have learned in my capital markets and hedge fund days, where I used to be working in a hedge fund before this, was that the way institutions manage money and the way they manage risk, it's a very well thought through way with certain models, certain discipline around it. And the main thing that you need around managing your own portfolio, your own money, is discipline.
Okay.
And it's very difficult to get that discipline because emotions come into play.
Right.
But if you have a model, a discipline in place, that's when you know that you're following a methodology.
Right.
And if you're true to it, it works very well in the medium to long term. So AI is just a tool to make sure that you have a methodology, but the technology is evolved enough to understand your profile, to understand your action. Okay. See, if you're a human advisor, you will have 20, 30, 50 clients maybe, and how much can you remember about them? But the algorithms, they can retain the knowledge. If you tell the algo, hey, I like technology, it will remember that you like technology for 10 years, unless you tell it, I don't like it anymore. So there is information retention, and it can utilize these things.
Right.
The only drawback is that the effect of this is visible to the client only after a few months or maybe even a year or so.
Okay, why is that?
Because see, what happens is the algo needs time to understand you. So unless you are interacting with the platform, unless you're telling the platform by view of your actions that I like this, I dislike this, or I bookmarked something, I did not bookmark something, I viewed a crystal, I did not view a crystal, unless that data is generated, our algos are not able to understand you that well.
So basically you can't just transact and move, you need to share as you would with a human advisor as well, to whatever extent possible.
So you can transact, but it's a curated access.
So that's for people who are slightly more experienced with the investing and marketing products.
That's
possible.
Yeah. So the knowledge of ETFs in India, I would assume, is a bit limited, and that needs an education. But people who already know, they probably know what they want. So then they can just go for it, but they know that it's already curated. And as they engage more, then we also know, okay, this person knows what they want. They never asked us, so we assume that they know. And so the engagement with them is different.
Okay.
The algo reads them in a different risk profile.
Yeah. Great. Thank you so much, Asheesh, and all the best. I'm sure the Indian MF market, as we were talking earlier, is highly underpenetrated. People need access to market-linked products. I think for long-term investors, market-linked products make so much more sense. So hopefully, with the global diversification that your platform brings in, this is something that can work out.
That's true, and in fact, we have not released the India mutual funds because the algorithm for mutual funds is actually going to be a little bit more evolved, because the algo has to understand the funds and understand the people and connect it, and that takes longer.
That's taking time.
So that's why we are releasing the global product before the India product.
Okay.
But it will come soon.
Okay, great. Thank you so much, Asheesh, for joining us.
Thank you.
So you heard Asheesh. Kristal.AI has been successfully running its platform in Singapore and in other countries. They will be launching in India soon. And for all you guys who are getting excited about those investment possibilities, now global shares are not too far for you. Through ETFs, Kristal.AI brings all that to you on their platform. Thank you for watching, and for all your personal finance queries, do keep logging into moneypuzzle.in. Thanks.